Kelechi Iheanacho has dropped a very clear hint about where he wants to be playing his football next season, and Celtic fans will love it. We have also got a former Hoops defender saying O'Neill will be desperate to keep his backroom team together. Celtic being told to show they are the richest club in Scotland this summer. A World Cup disaster for one Celtic star after his national team's manager got sacked after one game, and a two-word Instagram post that has got the whole support talking. Let's get into it. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Kelechi Iheanacho has given Celtic supporters a major boost this morning by dropping what looks like a very clear hint that he wants to stay at the club beyond this summer. The Nigerian striker's contract is due to expire at the end of June after arriving at Parkhead, following the closure of the transfer window last September. However, Celtic do hold an option to extend his deal for a further year, meaning the final call sits with the club rather than the player. Iheanacho has already said publicly that he would love to remain in Glasgow, and now his latest Instagram post has added another layer to the story. The 29-year-old shared a photo from Celtic's Scottish Cup celebrations and trophy lift. The caption was just two words: "My team." It is hard to read that as anything other than a player who sees his future at Parkhead. He was not posting about the past. He was not reflecting on a loan spell that had ended. He posted those words in the present tense with a photo of him lifting the cup on the first day the transfer window opened. The timing feels deliberate. What cannot be argued is the impact he made when it mattered most. From April onwards, Iheanacho became one of O'Neill's most dangerous weapons from the bench. 6 goals in 9 substitute appearances, including decisive winners away to Dundee, Hibernian and Motherwell, as Celtic came from behind in the title race. Those goals were enormous, turning points. The fitness concern is a real one. Since arriving at Celtic, he has not completed a full 90 minutes in a Celtic shirt. O'Neill managed his workload carefully, using him in bursts rather than as a consistent starter. But when the pressure was highest, the striker delivered every single time. For Celtic, triggering that one-year option looks like an easy decision. Iheanacho clearly agrees. Now, for the main story, as Celtic have been told, they must use this transfer window to prove they are the richest club in Scotland, with former striker Andy Walker delivering a direct message to the board ahead of what could be a defining summer. The double has been won. O'Neill is confirmed as permanent manager. The window opened this morning, and the pressure on the club to finally spend properly has never been greater. Walker was speaking on Go Radio and got straight to the point. He said, "I am sure Martin would want a big statement signing just to show everyone that Celtic are the richest team in Scotland. We can afford to spend a bit of money." That is a simple message. One statement signing, not dozens of arrivals, not a complete overhaul. Just one signing that tells Scottish football and Europe that this club means business. The finances are there to do it. Daizen Maeda is attracting serious interest from clubs that could generate a significant incoming fee. Arne Engels continues to be linked with multiple clubs across England and Europe. Other departures are expected. Champions League qualification would add further funds on top of that, and Luis Palma's permanent move has already generated income. The problem is that Celtic's recent transfer windows have not delivered quality that matches the ambition the club are supposed to represent. The January arrivals of 3 loan players failed completely. The summer before that was cautious to the point of being harmful to the squad. Walker's point is that there can be no more of that. O'Neill has done his part. He rescued the season against the odds, delivered silverware under enormous pressure, and agreed to stay on. The board now have to match that commitment in the market. One statement signing, that is the bar. Anything less, and the questions will not go away. In other news, Greg Taylor has named what Martin O'Neill will be desperate to have in place this summer, and it comes back to the backroom staff situation that has been bubbling away for the past 2 weeks. Taylor was speaking on Clyde One and focused on the importance of keeping the coaching team together during what could be a chaotic period of squad change and transition. He said, "I think continuity will be important in a summer that could be a lot of changes. Celtic, there's a lot of players coming back from loans. There'll be new players coming in, and I think that getting them 2 guys back will be pretty vital for that stuff. There's already amazing guys in the building, guys like Gavin Strachan, Stephen McManus, so they have them coaches there, but I think Martin would be probably desperate to get the other 2 guys back. The two guys he is referring to are Sean Maloney and Mark Fotheringham, whose contract situations are still unresolved despite O'Neill being confirmed as permanent manager over a week ago. Taylor's point about the returning loans is sharp and worth dwelling on. Celtic will have players coming back from temporary moves, new signings arriving, others leaving, and a squad that needs to be restructured and settled before Champions League qualifying in August. That is an enormous task for any coaching team to manage smoothly. Having familiar voices the players already trust, coaches who were there through the most intense period of last season would make every part of that process easier. The idea of stripping out 2/3 of the coaching team that delivered a double to save on wages is genuinely difficult to understand. Taylor clearly agrees. In other news, Celtic winger Sebastian Tunekti is facing a turbulent World Cup after Tunisia sacked head coach Sabri Lamouchi following a 5-1 opening defeat to Sweden. Tunekti came off the bench during the match but entered the game with Tunisia already trailing heavily, the damage long since done. Celtic teammate Benjamin Nygren was involved for Sweden before being substituted in the second half as the Scandinavians put on a dominant display. The fallout was immediate. Lamouchi lost his job within hours of the final whistle, leaving the Tunisia squad facing an urgent reset with their second group game against Japan arriving on Sunday. That Japan fixture carries obvious Celtic interest. Dyson Maeda is part of the Japan squad, meaning two current Celtic players could be facing each other in a must-win game for Tunisia. The timing of the managerial change makes things significantly more complicated for Tunekti. Adjusting to a new manager's ideas, a new set of demands, and potentially a new role in the team, all in the space of a few days before a match that Tunisia cannot afford to lose, is an enormous challenge. Lastly, there is a second look at the Iheanacho story worth having this morning, because the wider question it raises is actually one of the most important Celtic faces ahead of this summer. When a player posts "my team" on the day the transfer window opens, with a photo of themselves lifting the Scottish Cup, it tells you something. It tells you the player wants to stay. It tells you the player is proud of what was achieved. And it tells you that the relationship between player and club is a positive one. That matters more than it might seem on the surface. Celtic had multiple loan players this past season who came, failed to deliver, and left without any particular attachment to the club. Thomas Kavankara, Junior Adamu, Joel Mvuka, none of them made any lasting impression, and there was no sense from any of them that Celtic was a place they had connected with in any meaningful way. Iheanacho is different. He arrived late, came off the bench repeatedly in the most pressurized moments of the season, and scored goals that changed the title race. His connection to the club and to the supporters who watched those moments feels genuine. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.